I stood in the parking lot of my wife's office building, watching through the glass windows as she laughed at something her coworker said. The way she touched his arm, the way her eyes lit up when she looked at him. 7 years of marriage and I had never seen her look at me like that anymore. 3 months ago, everything changed when Trevor walked into her life. Today was the day I would finally face the truth. I never thought the woman I loved would dare me to leave, but what she didn't know was I was already 10 steps ahead. Before I tell you how I turned the tables on my own wife, let me know in the comments where you are watching from. Hit that like button and subscribe, because what I am about to share will show you what happens when someone mistakes your patience for weakness. This story is about standing up for yourself when the person you trusted most tells you to walk away. So let's go back to where it all started. My name is Gunnar. I am 33 years old and I work as a construction engineer here in Portland. I met Amanda during our junior year at Oregon State. She was studying business, always had this drive about her, this ambition that I found attractive. We dated for 4 years before I proposed at Crater Lake, same spot, where we had our first weekend trip together. The wedding was simple, just close family and friends at a vineyard outside the city. Those first few years were exactly what I thought marriage should be. We didn't have kids. That was a mutual decision. Amanda wanted to focus on her career, and I was fine with that. I was building mine too, working my way up from junior engineer to project manager. We had plans. Buy a bigger house in the next 2 years, maybe get a dog travel to Europe when we saved enough. Simple plans, but they were ours. We spent our evenings cooking together, trying new recipes from this food blog Amanda loved. Weekends were for hiking, exploring trails around Mount Hood, sometimes just driving to the coast to watch the sunset. Life was not perfect, but it was good. It was ours. Then 3 months ago, Amanda's company hired a new creative director, Trevor. At first she mentioned him like any other coworker. Trevor joined the team today. Seems nice enough. I didn't think much of it, but slowly his name started appearing more in her conversations. Trevor suggested this approach for the campaign. Trevor thinks we should pivot the strategy. Trevor made everyone laugh at the meeting today. Still, I brushed it off. She was excited about this new project they were building. I wanted to be supportive. But then I started noticing other things. Amanda began coming home later. 8 o'clock became 8:30, then 9. Just finishing up with Trevor's team, she would say, dropping her bag by the door and heading straight to the bedroom. The evenings we used to spend talking about our day turned into her scrolling through her phone, smiling at messages I couldn't see. She started dressing differently too, more effort in the mornings, new blouses I hadn't seen before. She joined a gym which surprised me because Amanda had never been into fitness. Just trying to stay healthy, she said when I asked. Our dinners together became less frequent. When we did eat at the same table, she seemed distracted. Her phone would buzz, and she would glance at it with this little smile before putting it face down. I tried to tell myself I was being paranoid. She was just passionate about her work. But something in my gut kept nagging at me. The first real warning sign came on a Friday evening. I finished a site inspection early and got home around 6. Amanda was in the living room, laptop open on a video call. I heard her laughing, really laughing, in a way I hadn't heard in weeks. When she saw me walk in, her expression changed. She quickly said something to whoever was on the screen and closed the laptop. "Just wrapping up a call with a client," she said, but she wouldn't look me in the eye. I stood there for a moment waiting for more explanation, but she just grabbed her water bottle and went upstairs. The following week, Amanda's company had their quarterly dinner at this restaurant downtown. She mentioned I could come if I wanted, but there was no enthusiasm in her voice. Still, I went. I wanted to meet these people she spent so much time with, especially Trevor. When we arrived, I finally saw him. Tall guy, probably 6'2", wearing an expensive-looking jacket and designer glasses. Confident. The kind of confidence that comes from knowing people listen when you talk. Amanda's face lit up when she spotted him across the room. We walked over and she introduced us. "Trevor, this is my husband Gunnar." He shook my hand, firm grip, looking me straight in the eye. "Amanda talks about you," he said, though something in his tone made me doubt that was true. During dinner, Amanda sat next to Trevor. I was at the other end of the table, stuck between two people from accounting who spent the whole time discussing tax codes. I watched my wife laugh at Trevor's jokes, lean in when he talked, touch his shoulder when she made a point. They had this rhythm, this easy back and forth, that looked like more than just colleagues. I tried to join their conversation a few times, but it felt like I was interrupting something private. By the time we left, I had this heavy feeling in my chest that I couldn't shake. On the drive home, I finally said something. "You and Trevor seem really close." Amanda's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "He is my coworker. We work on the same projects." Her voice had an edge to it. I pressed on. "I noticed you were laughing a lot with him." She let out this frustrated sigh. "Are you seriously doing this right now? Are you that insecure?" The word hit me like a slap. Insecure. I sat there staring out the window, wondering if maybe she was right. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe I was the problem. We drove the rest of the way in silence. That night we slept on opposite sides of the bed, a cold space growing between us. The next 2 weeks felt like watching our marriage dissolve in slow motion. Amanda came home later and later. Some nights it was 8, then 9, then 10 o'clock. "Big deadline coming up," she would say, barely looking at me as she kicked off her shoes. She stopped asking about my day, stopped telling me about hers, except for the occasional, "Trevor thinks we should do this," or "Trevor suggested that." His name was everywhere, but she acted like it was normal, like I was crazy for noticing. Our weekends changed, too. Saturday mornings, Amanda would take her laptop to a coffee shop. "Need to catch up on work," she said. Sunday afternoons she had team meetings. I spent those days alone working on projects around the house, trying to convince myself that this was just a busy season for her. But deep down I knew better. She had changed her phone passcode. I noticed when she was paying for groceries one day and fumbled with it, making sure I couldn't see the screen. She started going to that gym she joined 5 times a week now. She bought new workout clothes, expensive leggings, and matching tops. Her body was changing, getting toner, and while I should have been proud, all I felt was this sinking realization that she wasn't doing it for me. Our physical relationship disappeared completely. We went from being intimate a few times a week to nothing. When I tried to initiate, she would say she was tired or had an early meeting. After a while, I stopped trying. We were roommates, not husband and wife. I kept telling myself to be patient, that things would get better after this project ended. But there was always another project, another reason why Trevor needed her attention more than I did. Then came the big fight. It was a Thursday evening around 7. Amanda came into the bedroom while I was reading and announced she was going to happy hour with her coworkers. I looked up from my book. Will Trevor be there? I shouldn't have asked. I knew the answer, but I needed to hear her say it. Her face flushed with anger. Why do you keep bringing him up? Her voice was sharp, defensive. I put my book down. Because you are different since he showed up. You barely talk to me anymore. We don't do anything together. Amanda crossed her arms. Maybe because you are being suffocating. I need space. Space. We were married, living in the same house, and she needed space from me. Space, I repeated. We are married, Amanda. We used to tell each other everything. She shook her head. That is the problem, Gunnar. You want me to report every single thing I do. You want to control my life. I stood up, frustration boiling over. I do not want to control you. I just want my wife back, the woman who used to care about spending time with me. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. Maybe I am just growing and you cannot handle it. Growing. The word felt like an excuse. Growing, I said, or growing closer to Trevor. That did it. Amanda's eyes went cold. This is exactly what I am talking about. Your insecurity is exhausting, Gunnar. I cannot deal with this anymore. She grabbed her purse and walked out, leaving me standing there in our bedroom, feeling like I had just lost an argument I didn't know how to win. I heard the front door slam, then her car pulling out of the driveway. I sat on the edge of the bed, my hands shaking, and realized I had no idea what time she would come back, or if she even cared that I was worried. She came home past midnight. I was still awake, lying in the dark. She didn't say anything, just went into the bathroom, took a shower, and got into bed. The smell of perfume and alcohol filled the room. I wanted to ask where she had been, who she was with, but I couldn't find the words. The next morning she acted like nothing had happened, made her coffee, checked her phone, and left for work without saying goodbye. 2 days later, I saw something I wish I hadn't. Amanda left her laptop open on the kitchen counter. She was upstairs getting ready for work. I was walking by, not even snooping, when a notification popped up. A message from Trevor. "Last night was amazing. Cannot wait for next week." I stopped breathing. My hands went cold. I clicked on the conversation before I could stop myself. There were dozens of messages going back weeks, inside jokes, plans to meet up. And then I saw it. Amanda had written, "Me too. Just need to figure out the Gunner situation." The Gunner situation. That is what I had become. A problem to be solved. I closed the laptop, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might break through my chest. I didn't confront her, not yet. I needed to think. I needed to know the full truth before I made any decisions. That day at work, I could barely focus. I kept seeing those words. Figure out the Gunner situation. What did that mean? Was she planning to leave me? Was she already cheating? I needed answers. Over the next week, I started paying attention to details I had been ignoring. I checked our shared credit card statements, dinners at expensive restaurants I had never been to. A hotel charge from 3 weeks ago, the same weekend she said she was at a work conference in Seattle. I called the hotel. They had no record of any conference. My stomach turned. I went through our bank records. She had been withdrawing cash, small amounts, 100 here, 50 there, covering her tracks. That weekend I couldn't take it anymore. Saturday morning, Amanda was getting ready to leave for another one of her gym sessions. I was sitting at the kitchen table when she came downstairs. "Amanda, we need to talk." She barely looked at me, checking her phone. "Can it wait? I am already late." I stood up. "No, it cannot wait. We need to talk about us, about Trevor." She finally looked at me, and what I saw in her eyes was not guilt. It was annoyance. She sighed like I was the most tiresome person in the world. "Gunner, I am tired of this. I am tired of you questioning everything I do." I took a deep breath, trying to keep my voice steady. "Then, tell me the truth. What is going on between you two?" She stared at me for a long moment. Then she said the words that changed everything. "If you are this insecure, if you cannot trust me, then maybe you should just leave." The room went silent. I felt like I had been punched. "What did you say?" She didn't back down. "I am serious. If you cannot handle me having a life outside this marriage, then leave." She turned and walked out the door, leaving me standing alone in the kitchen, her words echoing in my head. Maybe you should just leave. Fine. I would leave. But not the way she expected. That night I didn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying everything that had happened over the past 3 months. The late nights, the changed passwords, the secret messages, the hotel charges. Amanda was having an affair and she had just dared me to do something about it. Most men in my position would have broken down, begged, pleaded, tried to win her back. But something shifted inside me. A strange calm settled over my thoughts. I realized that Amanda had already made her choice. She chose Trevor. She chose to disrespect our marriage. And now I was going to choose myself. The next morning I started making calls. First I contacted a divorce attorney that a buddy from work had recommended. His name was Richard, mid-50s, been practicing family law for 20 years. I met him Monday afternoon at his office downtown. I told him everything, showed him the messages I had screenshot from the laptop, the credit card statements, the hotel charge. Richard listened, took notes, and when I finished, he leaned back in his chair. "You have a strong case, Gunner. infidelity proof of deception. Oregon is a no-fault state, but this evidence will help in asset division. He explained the process, what I needed to do, how to protect myself financially. I left his office with a plan. That week I became someone I didn't recognize, cold, calculated. I stopped arguing with Amanda, stopped asking questions. I acted like everything was fine. She seemed relieved, probably thought I had finally accepted whatever story she was telling herself. She got more comfortable, stayed out later, came home smelling like cologne that wasn't mine. And I just smiled, asked about her day, and went to bed. But every night after she fell asleep, I was working. I installed a data recovery program on our shared laptop, completely legal since it was a device we both owned. I recovered deleted messages, emails, photos. What I found made me sick. Hundreds of messages between Amanda and Trevor. They called each other baby, sweetheart. He told her he was going to leave his wife for her. She told him she was working on an exit strategy with me. They had been sleeping together for 2 months. There were photos, intimate photos she had sent him. They had gone on a trip together, that Seattle conference that never existed. They spent 3 days at a resort, and she documented everything in their messages. I wanted to scream, to confront her right then, but I didn't. I saved everything, backed it up on 3 different drives. Then I hired a private investigator. I needed photographic evidence, something irrefutable. The investigator followed Amanda and Trevor for a week. He got pictures of them having lunch together, holding hands under the table, pictures of them going into Trevor's apartment together, pictures of them kissing in his car. The report he gave me was thorough, professional, and devastating, but it was exactly what I needed. Next, I handled the finances. I opened a new bank account at a different bank, one Amanda didn't know about. I transferred half of our joint savings into it. Completely legal, it was my money too. I documented every shared asset we had. The house, the cars, the furniture, everything. I made copies of all our financial records, tax returns, pay stubs, investment accounts. I was preparing for war, and I was going to win. Then I did something that might seem ruthless, but I saw it as justice. I found out through some careful research that Amanda's company had a strict policy against romantic relationships between employees, especially between someone in a director position like Trevor and someone he supervised even indirectly. Their HR manual was clear. I drafted an anonymous email to their human resources department. I didn't include my name, I just attached some of the evidence, messages, timestamps showing they were meeting during work hours, photos from the investigator showing them together at restaurants during lunch breaks. I explained that I was concerned about professional misconduct. I sent it from a burner email account. I also found Trevor's wife on social media. Her name was Laura. She had no idea what her husband was doing. I created another anonymous account and sent her a message. I kept it simple. I am sorry to tell you this, but your husband is having an affair. I have proof. I attached a few screenshots, enough for her to see the truth. She deserved to know. She had 2 kids with that man. She had a right to the truth just like I did. Finally, I found a new apartment, a 1-bedroom place across town, close to my office. I signed the lease, paid the deposit. I arranged for movers to come on a Saturday morning when Amanda would be out. I packed my essentials, the things that mattered to me, my books, my tools, my clothes, photos from before Trevor, before everything fell apart. I left behind anything that reminded me of the past 3 months. Saturday morning came. Amanda left the house at 8, claiming she had a spin class. I knew she was meeting Trevor. The movers arrived at 9. We worked quickly, efficiently. By 11, my things were out. The house looked emptier, but I didn't feel sad. I felt free. Before I left, I placed an envelope on the kitchen table. Inside was a copy of the divorce petition Richard had prepared. A USB drive with all the evidence, screenshots, photos, financial records, everything. And a letter. I kept it short. You told me to leave if I could not trust you. You were right. I should have left the moment I realized you were not worthy of my trust. Everything you need is in here. My lawyer will contact you. I took one last look around the house, the kitchen where we used to cook together, The living room where we watched movies on Friday nights. The bedroom where we used to talk about our dreams. None of it felt like home anymore. It was just a place where I had been slowly losing myself. I walked out the front door, locked it behind me, and drove away. I didn't look back. Amanda came home around 2 that afternoon. I know because she called me 17 times in the span of an hour. I didn't answer. She left voicemails, her voice panicked, confused, then angry. "Gunnar, what is this? What are you doing? Call me back. We need to talk about this." Then more calls, more messages. "You cannot just leave like this. We can work this out. Please just talk to me." I listened to each one once, then deleted them. She texted too. Long paragraphs about how I was overreacting, how I had misunderstood everything, how we needed to go to counseling. I didn't respond to any of it. By Monday, things started unraveling for her. Amanda's company received the anonymous email. They launched an internal investigation. I found out later through a mutual friend that both Amanda and Trevor were called into separate meetings with HR. They tried to deny it at first, but the evidence was clear. Trevor was married. Amanda was married. Company policy prohibited this exact situation. Trevor got demoted, moved to a different department. Amanda was given a formal warning and transferred to a different team away from Trevor. She lost her manager title. Her salary was cut. The professional relationship they had built their affair on was destroyed. Trevor's life fell apart even faster. His wife Laura filed for divorce within days of receiving my message. She got a good lawyer, one who didn't care about Trevor's excuses. The photos I sent her, combined with what she found on his phone when she confronted him, gave her everything she needed. She got primary custody of their 2 kids. Trevor lost his house, most of his assets. And when the pressure became too much, when his marriage was ending and his career was damaged, he turned on Amanda. I heard through the grapevine that he blamed her for everything, said she had pursued him, that she was the one who pushed the relationship. Their affair, built on lies and betrayal, crumbled under the weight of consequences. Amanda tried to reach out to me dozens more times over the next few weeks. She showed up at my new apartment twice. I didn't answer the door. She sent letters, long handwritten pages about how sorry she was, how she made a mistake, how she wanted to fix things. But her words felt empty. She wasn't sorry she had betrayed me. She was sorry she got caught. There is a difference. My lawyer handled all communication from that point forward. Amanda tried to drag out the divorce, but with the evidence I had, her lawyer advised her to settle. The process took 4 months. In the end, I kept my retirement accounts, got my fair share of our joint assets, and walked away clean. The first few weeks in my new apartment were strange. I wasn't used to the quiet. I wasn't used to being alone. Some nights I sat on my couch eating takeout, wondering if I had made the right choice. But those doubts never lasted long, because every time I questioned myself, I remembered how small I had felt in those final months, how invisible, how disrespected. I remembered her words, "If you are this insecure, just leave." She had tried to make me feel like the problem, like my feelings didn't matter, like I was wrong for wanting basic honesty and respect in my marriage. Leaving her was not giving up. It was choosing to value myself. I started rebuilding my life piece by piece. I joined a gym near my apartment, not to impress anyone, but because I wanted to feel strong again. I started running in the morning, something I used to do in college, but had stopped. The physical activity helped clear my head. I threw myself into work, took on bigger projects, volunteered for assignments I normally would have passed on. 6 months after leaving Amanda, I got promoted to senior engineer. My boss told me I had been doing exceptional work, that my focus and dedication hadn't gone unnoticed. The irony wasn't lost on me. While Amanda's career suffered because of her choices, mine was thriving. I reconnected with old friends I had neglected during my marriage, guys from college, former coworkers, people I had lost touch with. We started meeting up for beers on weekends, going to Trailblazers games, doing the things I used to enjoy before everything became about keeping Amanda happy. I realized how much of myself I had given up trying to save a marriage that she had already abandoned. I even started dating again, though. I took it slow. I met a woman named Jenna at a professional workshop 8 months after my divorce was finalized. She was an architect, smart, independent, had her own life, and didn't need me to complete it. We started with coffee, then dinner, then weekend hikes. She knew about my divorce. I was honest about what I had been through, and she was patient. She didn't push. She let me open up at my own pace. We have been together for 6 months now, and it feels different. It feels healthy. There is trust, communication, respect, all the things I thought I had with Amanda, but never really did. I won't lie and say I never think about Amanda. Sometimes I do. I wonder if she ever reflects on what she destroyed, if she realizes that Trevor wasn't worth it, if she understands that she didn't just lose a husband, she lost someone who truly loved her. But those thoughts are fleeting, because the truth is, she did me a favor. She showed me who she really was, and she gave me the push I needed to choose myself. People ask me sometimes if I regret how I handled it, if I think I should have tried harder to save the marriage. My answer is always the same. I gave that marriage everything I had. I was patient. I was understanding. I tried to be supportive even when I was hurting. But you cannot save a marriage when only one person is fighting for it. Amanda checked out long before I left. She made her choice when she started lying, when she started cheating, when she looked me in the eye and told me to leave. I just had the courage to actually do it. The biggest lesson I learned is that love is not supposed to make you feel small. It is not supposed to make you question your worth or doubt your instincts. When someone shows you through their actions that they do not value you, believe them. Do not make excuses for them. Do not wait around hoping they will change, because the only person you can change is yourself. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is walk away. I also learned that revenge is not about getting even. It is not about making someone hurt the way they hurt you. Real revenge is building a life so fulfilling, so full of peace and purpose, that the person who betrayed you becomes irrelevant. Amanda thought she was trading up when she chose Trevor. She thought I would fall apart without her. But I didn't. I got stronger. I got happier. I built a life I am proud of. And that more than anything I could have said or done is the ultimate response to her betrayal. Looking back now, I see Amanda daring me to leave as the best thing that ever happened to me. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from something that is destroying you, even when you still love it. Marriage is supposed to be a partnership built on trust and mutual respect. When those foundations crack, when one person stops caring about the other's feelings, it is not a marriage anymore. It is just two people living together pretending everything is fine. And life is too short to pretend. So yeah, Amanda told me to leave if I was insecure. She thought she was calling my bluff. She thought I would back down, apologize, beg her to stay. But I did something she never saw coming. I left. And I built a life without her. A better life. A life where I don't have to wonder if the person sleeping next to me is being honest. Where I don't have to check credit card statements or read secret messages. Where I can trust the person I am with and they can trust me. That is what I deserve. That is what we all deserve. If you are in a situation where someone is making you feel like your concerns don't matter, where someone is gaslighting you into thinking you are the problem, I want you to know this. You are not crazy. You are not insecure for expecting honesty. You are not asking too much by wanting respect. And if someone dares you to leave, maybe it is time to call their bluff. Not out of anger or spite, but out of love for yourself. Because you deserve better. We all do. So here's my question for you. Have you ever been in a relationship where you felt like you were fighting alone, where you knew something was wrong but kept trying to make it work anyway? Drop a comment below and share your story. I read every single one, and I promise you are not alone in this. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel because I share more real-life experiences like this every week. And please share this video with someone who might need to hear it. someone who is struggling right now, who needs a reminder that they deserve better. Thank you for listening to my story. I know it was not easy to hear, and it definitely was not easy to live through. But I am grateful for where I am now. I hope you find your own strength, whatever situation you are facing. Remember, the best revenge is not getting even. It is building a life so good that you forget they ever mattered. Take care of yourself. You are worth it.